silence began to lap at me, like the waves of a horridly turning tide, until eventually and suddenly it washed over me, smothering me and stealing my air. The sound of silence grew too, becoming a cacophony of deafening nothingness, perforating my eardrums and crushing ever inward on my skull. But still I stood firm. I held her gaze as her gaze demanded I did. Her stare burned through my eyes, infiltrating my mind and soul. She controlled me, controlled time. With one word, her voice sliced through that vicious, viscous silence with pinpoint accuracy. One word, one seemingly innocuous word, which dripped with festering subtext. "Well," she said. And in that skin-shearing moment, I knew that she knew. And she knew that I now knew what she already knew, that I had not been listening. Well, that one word, breaking sound, breaking time, and ripping through me like a bullet fired from an ally's weapon. My mind, which had been misguided, misaligned, describing with overly flowery, poetic hyperbole, the very silence I found myself in, raced to find an answer. The answer to a question I did not know. Legions of 4-star generals convened around an underlit table in a secret room in the shadows of my mind and shouted about what action to take, all to the too high-pitched sound of a panic alarm. Men screamed orders at phones, phones screamed orders at men, palm flat, hands slapped down on desks while brows sweated and ties were loosened. "Run away," one general cried. "Take a phone call," another yelled. "Feign a heart attack," another desperate voice called into the ether. Then, from the shadows, a bodiless voice hesitantly suggested, "Maybe just ask her to repeat the question?" Instant, piercing silence. Meanwhile, her eyebrows had begun a slow, controlled descent. A furrow began to etch its way across her forehead. A frown was on its way, an unforgiving frown. My time was running out. Then, in a furious flurry of desperate door opening, a stack of falling papers entered the room. "I have it," declared the stack. "I have the answer." The papers settled, and an intern from my mind's creative logic department stepped forward and handed with shaking enthusiasm a piece of paper which held the answer. Breaths were sharply inhaled and held as hopes were lifted, and a general read the note. "Good God, man," said the general in an American accent that was a lot better in rehearsal. "Could this really work?" "I've run all the numbers," said the intern. "Let's light the fuse on this puppy." And in that moment I became acutely aware of two things. One, I now knew exactly what I needed to say. And two, my American accent needs work.